Welcome back into Believe in the Wolfpack. I am your host, Luke Nichols. We got a lot to get to tonight. Gonna roll right into it. Gonna start off with women's basketball, then get into men's basketball after, then take a short break, catch up on some football news. I thought the football season was over. My bad. I thought the transfer portal was gonna, die down a little bit. Transfer news is gonna die down. No, not one bit. If anything, it's just, it's never gonna slow down. It's never gonna slow down. It's always gonna be transfer season. Guys are always gonna be transferring. There's always gonna be news in the transfer portal. I don't know why I thought, all right, we're in between period in the national championship game and bowl games. I was wrong. Dead wrong. But like I said, get into the women's team who just had a game tonight, their first ranked matchup since they played and beat Colorado 78-60. They played Florida State tonight, won 88-80. It took overtime, yeah. Still picking up an 8-point win at home against the top 25 ACC opponent. Florida State was ranked 22nd. I believe we'll see them. No, this is the last time we'll see Florida State this year. I don't know why I thought we'll see them later in the year. That is just, yeah. But it's the third most points the women's team has put up this year. Put up 92 against UConn. Where was the other one? 92, 87, 88. Put up 90 in another game. 90 against Elon as well. So 88 is the third highest total for the women's team. And yes, it took overtime, but still, putting up 88, that's a fantastic game. Speaking of fantastic games, Baldwin, 21 points overall. I think she had 16 points in just the first half. It was a very close game in the first half. Both teams were, I think it was tied. It might have been tied going into halftime. And River Baldwin was pretty much the main reason the Wolfpack were in this game in the first half. And then everybody started to come around. And then Isaiah James came in with 18 points. Zoe Brooks, coming off the bench now, still had 15 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, a steal, a block, but did have 6 turnovers. That led the team. But she also played starter minutes. She got 31 minutes tonight, the most by far of anybody off the bench, 15 points off the bench as well. But yeah, 21 points in total for River Baldwin. Isaiah James with 18 points. Sanaya Rivers with 12. And even Sanaya Rivers, not the best shooting game, 4 of 13 from the floor. And Madison Hayes, what was it? Oh, I just lost it. Madison Hayes had 11 points tonight. So pretty even scoring. Even then, Mimi Collins played 43 minutes, the most of any starter, had 11 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and 9 points. Was 1 point off of that double-double. But 30 points tonight. And I think for Tanaya Latson, 30 points for Florida State, the sophomore guard. I think she had 17 in the fourth quarter, if I remember correctly. Just absolutely killing the pack in the fourth quarter, and was, a big reason why this game had to go into overtime and why, we couldn't just pull it away. And then Beji had 12, Gordon had 15, Timpson off of Florida State. Timpson had 13. Not much production off the bench from Florida State. Only 8 total points off the bench for them. So, Latson was the sole reason they were in this game. 30 of the team's 80 points, 10 of 24 from the field, 1 for 6 from beyond. So maybe one or two more of those threes falls in regulation. Maybe we don't get to overtime. But then was perfect from the free throw line as well. Had 9 of the team's 15 makes, even though they shot 78% from the free throw line. She went 100%. Honestly, I think it was a good game for the Pack to experience. I think it was the second game in conference play, had the win against Virginia. And then even this Sunday, taking on Virginia Tech, who is 13th in the country. And that game's going to be at noon, also on the ACC network. We'll get to that. Just, remember, spark something, a little light bulb about, the ACC network broadcasters last night during the men's game. We'll discuss that soon. But yeah, against Virginia Tech this Sunday, it's going to be a 3 versus 13 matchup. That's going to be another tough game. But it's good 2 tests early on, and even then, like I said in the previous episode or 2 ago, the biggest tests are behind them. They beat UConn, they beat Colorado, and now it's just, you don't slip, don't kind of hurt yourself. Don't shoot yourself in the foot during conference play because you're 14-0, 2-0 in the conference already. Louisville's behind you at 13-2. Virginia Tech is 11-2. You just beat Florida State, who's now 11-4. Just handed them their first loss in conference play. So you already have the tiebreaker if you need it. But these next 2 games are going to be a tough stretch, just back-to-back ranked opponents. And then later in the year, February 5th and February 8th, you have Louisville, who's ranked 17th, and then Virginia Tech, who's 13th. So we'll see Virginia Tech twice. I was thinking we see Florida State twice, we see Virginia Tech twice. I knew it was a top 25 opponent, but they pull off, they get the win. It was a little close. It was much closer than anybody really wanted, but they're still going to be third. I would be shocked if they bump down an undefeated team at all. The only 2 ahead of them, again, are still South Carolina and UCLA. I don't think anything has really changed for the last month in the top 5 of the women's basketball rankings. But then you do have Iowa and Caitlin Clark just kind of breathing down your neck on that 4th spot. And if you haven't seen the clip, or if you didn't watch the game of Iowa when Caitlin Clark hit the game winner, what was it, Tuesday night? I think it was Tuesday night she hit the game winner. That sound, they must have microphones right on the net or on the ball or something, because that sound, once the ball went through the net, and it was a perfect nothing but net, that sweet string music, I like to say, just right through. Oh my good, that sound was unbelievable. It's one of those where you think, like, favorite sounds in sports. It's like, crack of the bat on a home run, ball going into a catcher's mitt. That swish sound right there might be number 1. That was, it was beautiful. I listened to it 10, 15 times in a row. It's about to be on my Spotify Wrapped. I listened to it that much. It was unbelievable. The only, real sound that I can think of, and even a video that I can think of that I watched more just based on the sound of what happened in the video for sports, is the one Shohei Ohtani home run when I think it was one of their first games of the year. They were playing the White Sox, and the announcer, again, his name is slipping my mind. Matt Vasgersian? I think it's Matt Vasgersian. He was like, "Oh, Tani," and then the color commentator is like, "First pitch swinging," and he just cracks the ball. You hear Vasgersian going, "First pitch crushing," and the sound the ball makes off the bat, it doesn't even sound real. It was ridiculous. It is still just the most unique sound of bat on ball I've ever heard, and I will always think of it. I'll watch it just anytime I see it on any feed. I'm watching it at least 5 times. Simple as that. Went off on a whole tangent there, but my point, Caitlin Clark is incredible and just impossible to stop. You can't stop Caitlin Clark. So hoping whenever tournament play rolls around, we won't have to see her until the national championship. You're going to have to beat good teams to win the championship, but hand up, Caitlin Clark scares me. But again, overall, NC State women's team comes away with a win, 88-80, high scoring game for both teams. Not much defense, but a lot of scoring for either side. River Baldwin, the MVP of this one, I would say, for pretty much keeping the pack in the game for the first half, especially. Now, moving on to the men's game, a much closer and a much more horrific game, even though they did get the win. But my God, if they have another shooting game like this again, they'll probably lose by 20. Shot 28% from the field, 17% from 3. 3 of 17 from 3. 3 of 17 for 17%. 19 of 66 from the field. That is awful. Only scored 54 points. That is terrible. They took more shots. They took 19 more shots than Notre Dame, and Notre Dame shot 40%. They just needed more shots, and the reason they got more shots was the offensive rebounding. 17 offensive rebounds for the Pack. 17 offensive rebounds, only five for Notre Dame. They couldn't get a rebound to save their life. O'Connell. Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. But only 5 offensive rebounds. That is ridiculous. How do you let up 17 rebounds? That's the reason you lost. You want to look as to, all right, how did we lose a game to a team that shot 28% from the field and 17% from three? You didn't crash the defensive glass. Get a rebound. Gain a possession. It's that simple. Don't let them shoot the ball 19 more times than you. Even went 13 of 16 from the free throw line, so you had 6 more free throws made than Notre Dame, and you shot pretty well. 81%, you'll take that pretty much every game or as a team, you'll take that every game. But DJ Horn, 3 of 14 from the field. Casey Morsell, 3 of 10 from the field. Jaden Taylor, 3 for 13. DJ Burns, 6 of 15. Couldn't hit a thing. Couldn't hit water if you fell off a boat. Couldn't hit sand if you fell off a camel. Whatever saying. You couldn't hit a shot. It was terrible, but they got the win. For as awful as that game was offensively, you still squeak away with a win. And that's where you can, really look at this as a positive. Good teams win bad games. This was a horrific game, and they won. So what does that tell you about the Wolfpack? They don't waver. They don't get down on themselves. They don't get discouraged. The confidence was always there. They always thought they were going to win the game. No matter how many shots they missed, no matter how many times they hit the rim and it didn't fall, still had that confidence. And to be a great team, you have to win ugly. Yes, you have to win pretty. You have to blow teams out. You got to have 50% shooting and 45% from 3 games. But if you can win games where you shoot below 30% from the field and below 20% from 3, which honestly usually never happens for the Wolfpack, and especially doesn't happen when you win, that's very impressive. So credit to them for just kind of, like I said, confidence never wavered. They stuck in the game the entire time. They trailed the entire game. The only time they led was when it was 54-52. And it was off the DJ Burns little up and under with the floater. That's what I meant to get to. So the color commentary person for the ACC network last night, Dan Bonner, I believe his name is. So passes inbounded. It's 52-52. Keats calls a timeout. Have, what was it, like 5 seconds to work with, something like that. Have one guy go off a screen from Burns, cuts to the corner. Burns has all the space in the world on that far side block right in front of the bench. All the space in the world. No one's coming to double team him, which I could not believe they did not double team DJ Burns. I thought that was the most obvious play in the world, was to go to DJ Burns after he hit a little post hook move to get it to 52 all. Then you fouled, I think it was Jai. Is that how you say it? Jai? I think he missed the free throw. No, he made all his free throws. Who got fouled? Oh, no. Also, who got fouled? I can't remember who got fouled. But, Roper. It was Roper. He was out all the way at the bottom, 0 for 1 from the free throw line. Fouled Roper. He completely missed his free throw, skimmed it off the front rim. You come back down, call a timeout, get a play set. And it was a great play because it worked perfectly. But Dan Bonner was saying that was a last resort play. That is exactly what we wanted. That is exactly what Keats drew up. That is exactly what DJ Burns and the rest of the team was expecting. And he called that a last resort. It worked out perfectly. Burns was all by himself. Little boom, ball fake, easy floater with 0.6 left on the clock they put. That was beautiful. That was a perfect play. It was perfect. Burns executed it to perfection as well. Well, I mean, I've said it before how he's got just great touch around the rim and just great footwork and everything. When he's left alone like that as well, I cannot believe they did not double team him. What were they thinking? But he just gets a little up and under, and I did get a little nervous that he didn't try to go off the glass with it. But hey, it went in. I'm not going to nitpick. I just could not believe that he called it a last resort play. What are you talking about? That is exactly what we wanted to do, especially when our other main guys, Horn, Taylor, Morcell, aren't shooting the ball that well the entire night. Burns wasn't even shooting the ball that well until the final two possessions. And you just had success with nearly the same play on the same block the possession before. But you're going to say that it was a last resort? I couldn't believe that. It made no sense to me that he was like, it was a last resort. I'm still kind of thinking about it. Like, what did he mean? What did he mean by that? A last resort? Because that's just wrong. But again, it was nice to see that they can win these kind of games and, win the ugly ones. This one was probably the most ugly game that we'll have all year. And I always like looking at the game flow and the win probability on ESPN whenever the game's going on and whenever the game concludes. The win probability the entire time, Notre Dame's line is up here right above the red line NC State, and it's kind of going up, it's going up, it's going up consistently. Notre Dame is ahead. And then at the very last second, at the very last bit, boom, win probability jumps up right to 100%. So it's just good to see. It doesn't matter how long you lead the game for, as long as you lead the game with triple zeros in the second half. So grateful for a win, another road win in ACC play. Wolfpack moved to 10-3 on the year, 2-0 in conference play. The next game is, I had it written down, but I'm going to look at it on here anyway, is this Saturday against Virginia at 2 o'clock. Finally, a home game, a home conference game. It's going to be the first home conference game. Yeah, they're 2-0 in conference games, both on the road. So you got that Virginia game this Saturday, and then North Carolina on the 10th at 8 o'clock on ESPN. That's going to be a fun one. We'll step away for a moment, but when we come back, going to get into my college football playoff championship prediction and the former 5-star receiver coming home. All right, welcome back in. Believe in the Wolfpack and some more football news. Even as the national championship rolls around, NC State lands Noah Rogers, the receiver who initially at a high school committed to Ohio State. At the time, coming out of high school, he was the 40th ranked prospect in the nation, the 8th wide receiver, and a top 2 prospect in the state of North Carolina. Coming home to NC State. I guess he's seeing the receiving core that we're building here and seeing Grayson McCall come over to the Wolfpack. And he didn't want to be left out. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It was a good move. He's 6'2", 201. I believe he was a redshirt this year for Ohio State. Didn't play, so I guess that would also make sense. Even then, I mean, he had Ibuka and Julian Fleming, who also transferred, and then Marvin Harrison Jr., if you've heard the name, there at Ohio State. So just going into a loaded wide receiver room, and even with Kyle McCord leaving this year going to Syracuse, I think they did just get Will Howard. I'm pretty sure he just committed there, though, like today to Ohio State. So, but still, Noah Rogers wanted to come home. We'll take it. Little duo of, even then, with him having somewhat more of experience, him and Concepcion, I am now thinking will be the main 2 guys next year. But again, we have so much time. I'm just going to enjoy being, I think we're back to top 5 in the transfer portal rankings. Yep, 5th. 5th with only 9 commits and still 5th in the transfer portal rankings for the country. It goes Ole Miss, Colorado, TCU, Louisville. That stinks. And then the Wolfpack. 4 4-star commits and 5 3-stars. Total of 9 commits. pretty good. I'm just gonna enjoy it. Watch some high school highlights again from Rogers, and start dreaming. I did see Grayson McCall loaded up a U-Haul and was kind of getting all his stuff up to campus. So that was also fun to see. But time for what could be and probably will be a very incorrect prediction for the college football national championship. I went 0 for 2 in bowl games. Whatever. I'm never going to stop making predictions. I've been, like I said, been wrong before. I'm going to be wrong again. Just got to take it. I'm not scared of it. It happens. Everyone's been wrong before. I am just, usually wrong about predictions. Maybe I got this one right. I'm going to think and hope that I do. But just to go right into it, I got Washington coming away with this one 34-30. My initial thought was it would be hilarious that Washington wins it as a Pac-12 team, as the Pac-12 disbands pretty much, and they win the final national championship of the 4-team college football playoff. That's about 40% of my reasoning for the pick. The other 60% is that this is the best passing offense and the best offense overall that Michigan is going to play this year. And they really don't have much experience against great offenses. The best one they've played was Maryland, who put up 24 points on them. Now, Tagovailoa didn't play that well against Michigan. He had 2 picks, and I think it was only 250 some yards. But other than that, they've just been playing terrible. Not terrible. Ohio State had a decent offense, but I think watching all year and watching Ohio State in those big games, I think everybody could tell that it wasn't the usual Ohio State offense that, we're kind of all used to in years past. Even then, they're not top 10, they're not top 20, they're fringe top 30 for total offense in the country. Not a great offense. The Michigan defense is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying they just haven't played a great offense. Whereas this Washington offense is the best in the country. They are the best at just they average 350 passing yards a game. 350 passing yards a game, have 4,900 passing yards on the year. They average 473 yards a game. That's not the best, but you look at that game last week and try to tell me that there's a better offense when you got Michael Penix back there, Odunze, and just the plethora of weapons they have. Dylan Johnson, that's a guy. That's who I was thinking of, trying to remember if he's going to play or not. Dylan Johnson is playing in the national championship. They'll have him. Yeah, there you go. Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan. These are just all guys that are incredible talents, and not just at the college level. They'll all be great talents at the professional level as well. Sunday players, as they call them. It's a great term. I love that. But this Washington offense, I think they're just going to keep it rolling. I think Michael Penix and the rest of the offense has all the confidence in the world. I think Penix just shows that confidence and shows that kind of, just swagger that he has of, I'm better than you. I'm going to make this ridiculous play, and it's going to make you look like a fool and make me look awesome because, yeah, he had the injuries, but he's so experienced. And just seeing him move in the pocket, he just evades sacks like no other. And I get it. Michigan's D-line is fantastic. And who is it? Sandstrill, I believe. Their DB is one of the best defensive backs in the country. I get that. But they just haven't seen an offense like Washington the entire year. They just haven't. It's simple as that. So I think they're really going to struggle out of the gate with this just fast and just up tempo and this incredible offense with all these weapons that they can beat you in a bunch of different ways. If they can shut down the run and make Penix throw the entire time, he may even welcome that. He may prefer that. And even then, if you just start getting gashed over the top and gashed deep, even just in the intermediate stuff, then Dylan Johnson's going to kill you on the ground, even if he's not 100%. Which, I mean, the fact that he's already listed as will be playing, if he's not 100%, he's 90%, I would say. But, I mean, I just think the offense is going to overcome the defense. I still do think that Michigan's going to put up some points. I think McCarthy's going to play. A lot better than he did in the Rose Bowl. I think he looked a little iffy in the Rose Bowl. He's had some great games this year, but he's had some bad ones as well where he didn't look that great. But I think he realizes that he kind of needs to show up. And if you can show up somewhat against an Alabama defense in the Rose Bowl, then I think he can carry that momentum into the national championship. But I still think Blake Corum and the ground game for Michigan is going to be the key. If they want to win this game, they have to play just keep the ball on the ground, hurt them on the ground between the tackles, and keep that Washington offense off the field. And they may have to try to make it a very low scoring game, like a 24 to 17 final score, a 20 to 17 final score. They got to make it ugly. If Michigan can make it an ugly game, they have. I think they win that game. If they can make it an ugly game, they'll win it. If they get into a shootout, no chance, I think. I think it's just obvious. Washington looked incredible last week. And even then, as long as Washington doesn't get too ahead of themselves, running these trick plays when the game isn't fully sealed yet, there's no reason that they should lose. But, my guess, my prediction is as simple as the best passing offense in the country is just going to hurt and beat one of the best defenses, overall defenses in the country. And simply because, Washington has played, they just played Texas, who was a great defense. They've played other, solid defenses throughout the year, yeah, but Michigan is still going to be the best defense that they play and that they see. But Penix is just so experienced. He's been in college football forever. He had an incredible game last week against Texas. I don't see why he can't do it again. Now, again, Michigan's giving up 152 passing yards a game, has only given up 1,984 passing yards in total. But you played the Big Ten. You played Iowa. Drew Aller forgot how to throw the ball for Penn State. I got offense. I know defense wins championships. Yeah, whatever. But I got the offense winning this one for Washington. And also because it would be hilarious that the Pac-12 team wins the championship the year the conference dies. And even then, both these teams are going to be in the Big Ten next year. So to have this maybe like a new rivalry show up, and even Washington kind of saying like, hey, we won a championship, just this year, and we just got to the Big Ten. We don't really need you. We're better than you. We don't. You guys need us. We're the best team in the country, not any of you. But yeah, 40%. Like I said, 40%. It would be hilarious. 60% Michael Penix and that offense. So maybe I'm going to be right. Who knows? Bet against me. I went 0 for 2 last week. Might win you some money. You're welcome. But thank you for joining me on another episode of Believe in the Wolfpack. Got some more men's and women's games this weekend. We'll come with a recap. Back to our regularly scheduled programming of Tuesday and Thursday next week. No more holidays for quite some time. That's going to derail us. So we'll be back next Tuesday. And thank you for joining me.